Welcome back, everyone, here to Full Circle, Florida. ABC News political director Rick Klein joins us now from Washington, D.C. Rick, enlighten me, if you will, on the latest 538 forecast that your colleagues did for the presidential election and what it reveals.
Yeah, the forecast just out this week suggests that Joe Biden is a slight favorite, about a 53% chance of winning over President Trump. It's a little bit different than the polls because other than the polls, it takes into account some of the economic conditions, the history of states voting in previous races. But basically, it tells the same kind of story, which is this is essentially a coin flip election. It's going to come down to about 7 states, all of which are razor tight at this moment.
Yeah, very close. Will Hunter Biden's guilty verdict hurt President Biden in the election?
I think people for whom Hunter Biden is a campaign issue are already not going to vote for Joe Biden. It's certainly a distraction, and I think it takes an emotional toll on the president. The fact that he had to or decided to go visit him in Wilmington just hours after the verdict came down, in addition to a busy foreign travel schedule, can't imagine that it won't come up in some way, shape, or form at the debate in a couple of weeks. It's all going to be there, but I don't see it as being directly relevant to Joe Biden or Donald Trump and their bids for the presidency.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump meeting with Republicans from both the House and the Senate this week on Capitol Hill, a pretty significant meeting. What was the importance of this meeting and the timing of it right now?
Well, we're now beyond all of the presidential primaries. We're obviously in general election mode. The Republican convention is barely a month away. It's about party unity from the Republicans' perspective. Obviously, it's a fraught meeting, particularly when you've got even a couple of lawmakers in the room who voted to impeach him. People like Mitch McConnell, who said that he was morally and practically responsible and said it was a dereliction of duty how he conducted himself on and around January 6th. So to come back there and get mostly applause and mostly support is striking, surprising, given the last 3.5 years or so. But that's where the Republican Party is. He's their guy, and they're going to go into the convention and the general election with him as the standard bearer.
Yeah, it does seem increasingly clear that perhaps the legal issue surrounding Donald Trump just doesn't matter when it comes to either the people he's going to be working with in Congress or the people who are going to be voting for him in November.
Yeah, look, I think it's unclear how voters will process this. We've seen some voters tell us and tell pollsters that convicted felon is a bridge too far, but certainly for his base, it doesn't seem to have made a difference. And he goes into this with, as I said, a very close election, regardless of all of the distractions around him and even the convictions that were handed down a few weeks ago.
All right, I got about 10 seconds left. This debate that's coming up in a couple of weeks, who do you think needs it more right now, Biden or Trump?
Well, I think Biden needs to change a bit of the perceptions around this and probably suggest to people that he's ready for the job given the concerns, but it's going to be a high-stakes moment for both of these men.
All right. Rick Klein, as always, appreciate your insight. Thank you. Next on Full Circle Florida, ISIS at the border, Russian subs in Cuba, and the flooding in South Florida.